Hello, my dears. This is Resilient Lives checking in on you. How are you? This is Wednesday, my happy, grateful day. It's also Ash Wednesday. And so, my question is, are you doing anything special during this Ash Wednesday Lenten season? Well, some people use the Lenten season as a time to reflect, as a time to change up and reflect on how they might want to do things a little differently, try to live a little differently, bring some joy, make some solitude. But it is often a time for reflection. And I was just giving some thought to that myself. Of course, we're thinking about how we want to do everything novelly during this pandemic season. But we're still on this journey with the pandemic. But then that's what life is. Life is a journey. We're just journeying, journeying with everything. And so how are you doing? And what's happening in your life? We've had a busy weekend. I think I've mentioned how this month is a very, very busy month. And now we have Ash Wednesday. And so, it's 40 days, I think, and we're waiting. And as I was thinking about it, it just seems like we spend a lot of time in our lives waiting. We're waiting for the pandemic to end. We're waiting for the vaccine. We're waiting for so many things. And so it is crucial that we focus on the waiting aspect in our lives. It's a significant thing that we do. So possibly the theme this week will be waiting. And today I'm thinking about how we wait, which we've probably talked about before, how we wait. And the reason that probably came to my mind is because in this waiting phase, it's like the pandemic. We're in waiting. We're always kind of in the middle. We aren't where we were before the pandemic, and we're waiting for this to end so that we can go visit our family, so we can hug, we can come out of this bubble. Waiting seems to be a time when you aren't where you used to be, but you haven't got to the finish line. And the key aspect of that is how you wait. How you wait. Woof. And there's a lot of ways to wait. But we would want, since we're focusing on thriving and flourishing, those are resilient things. Those are things that happen when you put in some positive actions, some positive ways of dealing with whatever it is you're going through. And the interesting thing is there's so many things going on, so many things. I think I spoke to you about waiting on Monday or Tuesday, because I was waiting for a family member. They had driven for a long distance, and the streets and highways were so bad. And my waiting, I was anxious, and I had to assess myself, and I said, "Ooh, you're." I was realizing that I was anxious, and that's why we keep that antenna up, because as soon as we have that feeling, and we're going to have those feelings, we're not perfect. We can't stop them, but we have to identify them. What am I feeling? What am I going to do with this? What's the root of this? And that's when I said, I'm going to have to put some music on, and I made it a cooking day. That kept me busy. And that, for me, was a positive way of waiting. Here we are in this pandemic, and the question is always, well, have you received your vaccine, or there's a lot of anxiety about getting it. Some people have gotten it. I stumbled on a book which was entitled Pandemic 1918. I had not been familiar with the pandemic at that time, and it was a lot different then, because it was a war going on. They lost more people to the pandemic than they lost in the war. The medical community and research did not know how to treat it, and it was just a confusing time. You're talking about uncertainty and waiting and not knowing. And there was an example in the book which got my attention, because it was talking about a college student that came home suddenly sick, and they called the doctor, and he turned their bedroom into a hospital room, and drained the fluid from his lungs. And the sister was saying, I didn't. He looked terrible. I didn't think he was going to live. I mean, I just can't even imagine. They were trying to come up with ways to deal with something they didn't know how to name it, how to treat it, what it was. So many scary things. But it took a while, but this person lived. And what was so interesting about his life is he was John Steinbeck. And he has written some wonderful books, but he would forever deal with his lung issue. But because he had been so sick, he used his experience to settle him and to adopt a new way, a novel way of living his life. And so I look at how he waited. And here we are waiting ourselves, but we have, my goodness, as soon as they found out about it and the medical community got together, I mean, we had a vaccine in an amazing amount of time. And so this pandemic, they've jumped on it, and it's just amazing the responders and the people in the vaccine. It's interesting. So my point is really looking at how you wait, because in life we're going to be waiting, and the how you wait determines the impact on your wellness. You know, if you're anxious, it takes longer to heal because it lowers your immune system. So I just would like to, before I go, and since we are thriving, and since we're coming together we're sending out this virtual love and these little nuggets just to remind us that while we're waiting, let's wait positively. Let's look at those things that help us to wait and thrive. And if it's true that all of these things are going to help us to turn out better, if the adversity is making us into a stronger person, then that's great, because a lot of times our stories become our testimonies, and we certainly are going to have one. So I would suggest that you feel the love, know that you're loved and supported, and take time during this particular Lenten season or not to reflect on how you want to go through this waiting process. Should be interesting. I'm trying to design and create my own. Until next time, bye-bye.